And I'd also like to thank the mayor and his staff for, we've had some, in past times, some very trying SPLOST negotiations, but this has been very smooth, Mayor, and we'd like to thank you because I think we all realize that the needs and the fairness of how we split these funds. Do want to touch briefly on the joint projects, and for those of you, I don't know if the mayor mentioned it, but the budget is broken up into 3 sections. The first one is joint projects, and these are projects that affect both the city and the county. And in our memorandum of agreement, all of this is covered as to what would be in joint and what would not be in joint. And all of these projects, since I think there's no saying we're all in the same boat. And so therefore, I'm going to touch briefly on public safety just a minute. I think the mayor did an excellent job at explaining what's going on. But I think most of us know the technology that we are using today, and we'll get a sheriff an opportunity later on to speak to this. The technology that we are using today in communication, I think, was probably back in the 50s. I think it would be somewhere in the 50s. And so therefore, it's about like now you go into buy an old analog TV or black and white TV. You can either can't get the parts, can't get it maintained, can't get it fixed. And since this technology is evolving so, FCC has also mandated that, I think about 2013, that the narrow banding requirement will come in place. And so therefore, the county has joined OARS, which is the Oconee Area Radio System Group. It's a consortium of counties. And we have joined that group. And this seems like a lot of money, but there are 2 groups that's developing like this in the state of Georgia. And so therefore, eventually, the entire state will be covered by this type of communications equipment. And we really need to be a part of it. When? Now. Because it would make no sense to purchase equipment that will be outdated probably before we get it broken in good. So the public safety, $5 million is a seemingly large budget item, but it is much needed. And of course, those of you may notice that even at the last commissioners meeting, we did submit an application for $1,400,000, and we suggested or recommended to do that because of the state cuts. And so therefore, those type of funds are becoming very, very far and few between. Landfill closure, a former board, not the current commission board, a former board had to make a business decision, and that business decision, because of the drop in the waste stream, they made a decision to close the Baldwin County landfill. Today, it is closed to the public, but the county is doing minimal dumping into the landfill. But the gate is actually closed to the public. When the decision was made to close, the engineer was instructed to submit all necessary documents to EPD. When that was done, a clock started, and therefore you have so many days to start closure construction. We have had a visit from EPD, and in that visit, we, I would imagine, say we had prayer meeting with them, and we actually was able to negotiate an agreement to buy some time and hopefully to see if we can get the SPLOST passed or find the funds to start this closure process. But we're talking about near $3 million, and this was going on during the time when our unemployment rate was 16% or higher. This is when Green closed and all the state closures, and we lost all of those jobs, and we were really in just a position just to ask EPD for some time, and of course they granted that. And if this SPLOST is passed, hopefully then we will get that landfill closed, or as we agreed with the city, look into some other avenues. I think the mayor and Faye has touched on all of the other items in the joint projects, but then later on I will touch on the reparations on the county projects. And county projects, public works projects, and this includes street, roadways, bridges. We have right now, gotta go a few more. We have Well, let's start with law enforcement, and not public works. Law enforcement facilities and equipment. Daniel, do you have a lot of boxes of Kleenex tissue? We may need some very, very shortly.
We buy them.
The patrol cars, the average number of miles on a high pursuit patrol car is anywhere from 200 and some to 300 some thousand miles. That's not acceptable. We need to improve that, and of course, we are, doing our best to maintain those vehicles. But I think later on the sheriff can attest for himself, we really need some additional vehicles for the sheriff department, new vehicles, and also we will need some additional funds to aid in the relocation of the 911 center. Under our fire department, of course, our firemen are very, very good. They submitted a wonderful wish list, but why am I saying we need Kleenex tissue? I know most of us would want to drive around in vehicles at 300 some thousand miles. But what about fire engines that's dated 1994, 1994, 1992, having anywhere from 85,000, almost 86,000, and at least the oldest have only 76,000 miles. 4,857 hours, and one have 8,191 hours. What are we saying? The older that this type of sophisticated equipment gets, then the harder it is to find parts and being able to keep them maintained and keep them running. So we actually need 3 pumpers and 1 ladder truck. But we just had to say we don't believe that this splash will generate this type of funds, so we told the fire department we will try to stretch it and get 2 pumpers and possibly a ladder, but there was no way that we could actually purchase all of the apparatuses that they really need. Also, their vehicles have an average of 150, some right at 200,000 miles. They are not, like the sheriff, not necessarily high pursuit, but when they are going on an emergency, they need dependable vehicles also. And there are also some improvements needed to some of the fire stations, and especially the North Auburn fire station, where the population increase in that area is demanding some increase and some improved facilities. Our recreation facilities, Faye mentioned that we have a beautiful park. Yes, but the gym was built back in the day. I'm not quite certain what the date was. The first fields was built in the 50s and the 60s, I believe. So we really need, even the parking lot needs some upgrades. There's some landscaping, a new pool. I could go on and on. Our tennis courts, they're beginning to crack. I think most of us know that. Again, the gym was built, and we attempted to air condition it, but it actually was not the type of construction that really leads to your heating and cooling type of environment. And so it's actually taking tons of air conditioning to even attempt to keep that gym cool. The gym floor, the tile around the gym. We need new baseball fields. We need to add some football fields. Fencing, the walking track need resurfacing, playground equipment. Do I need to go on? I mean, we can go on and on. And of course, we also need upgrades in Coopers, Harrisburg, and we also need to develop some additional recreation facilities across the river on the east side and some other areas in the county. And of course, as you noted, there is $1 million under the county project for this, and as the mayor mentioned earlier, there is $1 million under the joint project for recreation facilities and equipment. And now we will get to the public works buildings, infrastructure equipment, water, sewer, storm drain, flood control facilities equipment, road, street, sidewalk, bridge improvements, and public buildings. This total in this section is $10,900,000, but if we look at, and I know many of you heard about the school buses and the ditches on the dirt roads, we all hear about, and infrastructure is one thing. Once you put water lines in, drain pipes in, and do these type of things, it's something that you really can't put your hand on every day, and you don't see it. In other words, it's not a feel-good, sexy type project, but As the mayor alluded to, you don't miss your water until your well runs dry. So when we have water almost pretty much county line to county line, there is a need for, I know, two additional elevated tanks to probably fill some pressure issues in the county. And of course, our courthouse. Our courthouse was built with Kennedy's, and we have a lovely courthouse, but we cannot continue to defer the maintenance on that courthouse. It needs some maintenance, and it needs some maintenance done now. So these projects are just an idea of some of the projects that's needed under the county portion of this tax, and of course, all of these projects are very, very important. I was trying to collect all of the questions that we feel at the courthouse that people call in, and the majority of the questions were basically they want more of a breakdown. Well, we have probably list of more projects and more needs than probably we will generate funds under this splash. So I don't have anything further on that. I do want to give the sheriff, we asked him to come this evening, an opportunity if he'd like to expound any further as far as his department is concerned. Sheriff?